Number 4.
Return to Oz. The film is about Dorothy returning from the land of Oz, and her family is starting to get a bit worried on that she might be insane because she just keeps on mentioning this Oz crap. So they try shock therapy on her. Yeah, they actually go there. Pretty screwed up. But either one of the nurses or one of the patients, it's really not clear, frees Dorothy, and she ends up back in Oz, where everything's gone to hell. So, she meets a new colorful cast of characters, and they try to save Oz from the clutches of both the Mombi and the Gnome King. And the Gnome King is done in some really good stop-motion animation by Will Venton. Yeah, the guy who made the California Raisins and the Noid. And that one scene in Michael Jackson's Moonwalker. So yeah. This film actually gained a lot of controversy and criticism when it was initially released, simply because on how dark it was compared to the original film from 1939. No, technically this film isn't a sequel, since its tone and visual style is so different from the 1939 version. And they're even made by different studios. But since the fact that this film has the ruby slippers, which was an invention for the original movie, I'm pretty sure that just proves that, yes, this is a sequel to The Wizard of Oz. Making it closer to the original books was a good choice creatively, but not good financially, because the film ended up being a flop at the box office. And of course, it was panned by critics simply because on how dark it was. They thought, oh, Disney mixed with Wizard of Oz? That would be how all whimsical and magical. Is there anything else to this movie besides the darkness? The characters in this movie are just so dang likable. Like TikTok and Jack and the Gump and dear God, Scarecrow looks so freaking derpy. I mean, Jesus. And the actress who plays Dorothy is actually really good. And apparently, she did her own stunts too. So, and that's impressive for a child actor to do all of her stunts. Overall, with amazing visuals, good acting, a great story, and some really good music, and a bit of scariness, Return to Oz is a great movie, and I feel like you should see it. This isn't a movie for everyone. Like I said, it is pretty dark, but if you have one of those kids who really likes being scared, then I'd say check it out.
Number 3.
Enchanted. The film is about a Disney princess named Giselle who is about to marry a prince named Edward who she literally just met. Even the movie acknowledges that they literally just met.
And you are?
Giselle.
Oh, Giselle! We shall be married in the morning.
However, Edward's stepmother is not so happy about Giselle taking her position as queen, so she vanishes her to our world. She meets a man and his daughter, and they start to put a little bit of reality in her fantasy world, and she starts to put a little fantasy in their reality. You know, with a whole bunch of musical numbers and animals doing household chores and all that stuff. I'm not gonna lie, when I was a kid, I was a sucker for these types of movies. Not the whole fish out of water story, but animation live action hybrids. That was my thing growing up. Or more when I was like a little kid. Roger Rabbit, Pete's Dragon, Space Jam, that one scene in Mary Poppins. That was my jam! And though in Enchanted, live action and cartoon characters don't ever interact, they still utilize the two pretty well. Now, this film was made to subvert Disney cliches, and it was obviously their way on cashing in on the success of DreamWorks' Shrek. Now, so they decided to basically just use their hand-drawn animation department simply to satirize it. Or mainly just the earlier films, Snow White, Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, and so forth. Modern Disney movies, even at the time, were not like this at all. Films like Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, and Mulan featured the girl saving the day just as much as the man. And I'm pretty sure that Disney knew this. All the actors do really good performances, and the CG, when they actually use it for characters such as the dragon and the chipmunk, it's actually done fairly well, I must say. For mid-2000s CG. And fun fact, this was not only the only 2007 musical that the guy playing the servant to the Queen was in. He was also in Sweeney Todd. So, yes. That's a fun fact for all of you noobs for the musical theater. Anywho, I would recommend this to more of the older demographic of people rather than little kids. Because what if this is a kid's first Disney film? I mean, their first Disney film would be a parody of Disney. Think about that. It's like their exposure to Star Wars being Spaceballs. Anyway, I think that Enchanted is a charming film and well worth the look. And apparently everyone else thinks so because there have been talks of a sequel in the works for a while. I really hope that it focuses on Idina Menzel's character adjusting to the cartoon world. I mean, she is the voice of Elsa, so I'm pretty sure that Disney would like to capitalize on that. So, I recommend this film.
Number 2.
The Emperor's New Groove. The film is about David Spade turning into a llama. Trust me, the film's much better than that concept. Kuzco is an emperor who's pretty much just, the biggest jerk around. So, after firing her, the villain Yzma decides to make him dead by giving him poison. But her henchman Kronk ends up mixing up the two formulas, and now he's a llama. So, he ends up disposing of the passed out Kuzco, and he ends up encountering John Goodman. I forgot his name, to be honest. So, they do a buddy movie, and they try to get back to the palace to, just do the good thing. Alright, this is one of the funniest animated Disney movies out there, and dear God, the humor is actually really good. It's so cartoony, which is appropriate considering how the director of this film also directed the Warner Brothers animated movie Cats Don't Dance, which was also pretty cartoony. Okay, well, David Spade and John Goodman are okay. They're just doing their basic roles that these actors usually do. But I have to admit, Yzma and Kronk are freaking hilarious. They are by far the best part about this movie. Because you gotta understand, Kronk voiced by Patrick Warburton. And anyone who's voiced by Patrick Warburton is immediately awesome! So yeah. Oh, and Yzma being voiced by Catwoman, it kind of makes the epicness worked. Okay? And it's interesting to see Disney do a buddy comedy. I don't think we've ever gotten another animated buddy comedy film from Disney since then. Well, with the exception of Zootopia, I guess. But that wasn't really a comedy at heart. But still. If you just want to see some really good laughs with some nice cartoony animation and a decent amount of fourth wall jokes and some really good villains, but okay, that's some okay protagonists, which when you think about it, it's basically Disney going back to their roots with the villains being far more memorable than the heroes. And I would definitely recommend The Emperor's New Groove. But you might notice that there's only one movie left.
Boom, baby!
And the number one underrated Disney movie is
The Straight Story. The film is about an old man named Alan Straight. His brother had a horrible stroke. And the bad thing is that he hasn't spoken to his brother in 10 years. But since he's old and his eyesight isn't that good for a driver's license, he picks up his lawnmower and he drives it. He drives it for days and days and days, all just to see his brother. And dear God, it's really, really slow. Like, the film is slow paced, and it's mostly just seeing this guy out on the road. I mean, once in a while you'll see him encounter someone, but for the most part it's just him on the road, occasionally seeing something go by, occasionally stopping to rest, and very occasionally actually meeting someone and staying there for a good while. It's mostly just this guy driving to see his brother. You might be wondering, why is this number one when it seems like this movie is so boring? Well, we get to the ending where he does see his brother. And this movie made me appreciate the simple things. You realize that this film was about the journey, because it said in the film that he's been traveling for well over a month. Which I was wondering, if his brother had a stroke well over a month ago, how does he know that his brother's not dead yet? It was all about the journey and how he spent days and countless of nights traveling and traveling and traveling, all just to see his brother. And if you see this movie and you just can't get past the hour and a half of nothing, then I completely understand it. But in my opinion, The Straight Story is truly something special. In my opinion, this is up there with Disney movies like Mary Poppins and Beauty and the Beast and Fantasia and Toy Story. In my opinion, this film is just so different and so unique and so good. I highly recommend you check it out. But if you do end up seeing it and you find it boring and you just can't get past the rest of it, that's okay. Just see the film, make your own opinion. But in my opinion, I believe that The Straight Story is the most underrated Disney movie of all time.
And Hunchback of Notre Dame probably should have been on the list, but it's not because I don't find it underrated. Goodbye!